Good morning, everyone. Today we'll be looking at launching a case study to investigate ransomware with Autopsy. This is meant for BSc Cybersecurity and Digital Forensics, Year 2. For the module, Security and Forensics Tools, my name is Dr. Aye Ibo. Today I will introduce Autopsy, a popular open source forensic tool. Autopsy provides a graphical interface to the sleuth kit, making it much more accessible than command line tools. It's free and extensible, so organizations with tight budgets will still get core features like web browser history, registry analysis, and file carvings. In practice, Autopsy's design is very user-friendly, with results appearing in a single tree view and wizards guiding you through case setup. So you can see the features of Autopsy, which include timeline analysis, keyword search, web and registry artifact extraction, multimedia carving, which are all designed to be easy to use, with intuitive user interface and a single tree of results. So this is Autopsy's user interface. As you can see, it's a very simple interface, which is easy to use. And also, you can create, configure cases, and analyze results quickly. Now, let's briefly review ransomware. Ransomware is a type of malware that encrypts your data until a ransom is paid. It's typically delivered via a seemingly innocent file or link. This threat has grown enormously, with recent reports showing hundreds of millions of ransomware incidents globally, which also include losses in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Because of this, we must apply digital forensics. So investigators use tools like Autopsy to trace the infection path, find the encrypted files, uncover the ransom note or cryptocurrency addresses, and preserve evidence for law enforcement. In short, forensic analysis helps us understand and respond to these attacks. Let's set up our case study. Imagine a university department shared server has been locked by ransomware. For example, a variant of WannaCry or similar. The students and staff find all their files encrypted, and a ransom note demands payment in Bitcoin. We have a disk image of the server's hard drive and a memory dump. As student investigators, our goal is to use Autopsy step by step to uncover when the attack happened, what files were encrypted, find the ransom message, and hopefully any clues to the attacker, like malware binaries or unusual user logins. In Autopsy, we follow a classic process. First, we launch Autopsy and create a new case. We fill in details like the case name and examiner. Then we add our evidence, the disk image of the server. Autopsy will run all the selected ingest module. For a ransomware case, I will enable timeline analysis, keyword search for terms like ransom, web artifacts, registry, and carvings. Once processing is done, we look at the results pane. We look at the result pane. So you can see here, we can create a new case and configure our case with the case name, as well as where the case will be stored as our base directory, the case number, which is optional, and the case type also. So we can browse the directory tree. I think I showed you an interface of Autopsy. We can go back to that slide. So we can see the directory tree. So we can also browse it, and we can see all files that we have created here, so that it will be easy for us to perform our analysis. So Autopsy shows both allocated and deleted files. So we look for files that shouldn't be there, such as a ransom note file, unusual executable names, or patterns like *encrypted. In one lab case, Autopsy revealed every file had an altered extension, confirming a WannaCry infection. Importantly, which is very important, Autopsy scanning module can recover remnants of original files even after encryption. So throughout, we note key evidence that is file path, timestamps, and hashes for our report. So Autopsy can have all those details available for us to use for our analysis. So you can see new case or open case, you can add data source or generate our report. So let's go back to our next slide, which will be looking at forensic investigation workflow. So here we see the high-level workflow of a digital forensic investigation. That is, this is a high-level workflow. The 5 stages are identification, preservation, collection. There's analysis stage there, and then before reporting. You can clearly see here on this slide. In practical terms, first, we identify what evidence is relevant, the compromised server, and preserve it. As we have an image, so the original drive is untouched. So you have to image your drive so that the original evidence is preserved. Next, we collect digital evidence. In our lab, that means loading the image into Autopsy. Then we analyze that evidence, running keyword searches, timeline carving. Finally, we report our findings. So that is already what is stated here. So these 5 basic stages are based on NIST workflow: identification, preservation, collection, analysis, and reporting. Okay, so let's have a midway check, which is a quick question here. So what steps will you take to maintain chain of custody during this investigation? So a few minutes for you to have a look at that. Now, I want you to pause for a moment. Imagine you are in charge. Chain of custody protects your evidence in court. So think about documentation, secure storage access control, and so on. Now let's look at artifact analysis. Now from Autopsy analysis, we compile our artifact summary. For example, we might find 500 encrypted files. And this you can see here, we have a quick chart here, which breaks them down by file type, many Word documents, some Excel, and so on. You also find a ransomware node file, perhaps a readme.txt file on the desktop, which includes the attacker's Bitcoin wallet address. In the timeline view, we see the encryption process started at 2:47 a.m. and was completed by 2:57 a.m. We even see the malware process name like @decryptor.exe in memory. These artifacts, including counts, file names, timestamps, are captured in our report. So from this slide, you can see the artifact analysis summary, a breakdown of all the files that were encrypted, documents, images, spreadsheets, and others. Then you can see the timeline for the encryption starting at 2:47 a.m. and being completed at about 2:57 a.m. So all this information can be generated with Autopsy based on the case that we are investigating. Once analysis is done, we prepare the forensic report, so we have to report our findings. Now, Autopsy can generate detailed output, for example, HTML or spreadsheet reports that list all the findings. Our report will include the timeline we saw, the file name and hash of the ransom note, and even summaries like how many files were encrypted. We will also describe step by step what we did so another examiner can reproduce it. For instance, we might include an exported list of recent files or web searches. The goal here is a clear narrative. At 2:45 a.m. on Monday, the 1st, for example, malicious encryption started. The file readme.txt was created at 2:50 a.m. with the ransom instructions and so on. That way, a reader, be it a judge or manager, can follow exactly how we arrived at our conclusions. All right, so how is this connected to my work? A bit about the context. In my work, I often conduct forensic analysis of malware incidents just like this. We use Autopsy in the lab for real cases, for example, tracing ransomware infections at local businesses. I also teach forensics, so I use case studies to connect theory to practice. This particular ransomware scenario is modeled on real attacks like WannaCry. By walking you through it, I'm showing you exactly how we approach such investigations in the field and the classroom. It's rewarding to see students build confidence with Autopsy because they can see that the tools they learn work on real problems. So, summary. To wrap up, we have seen how Autopsy makes investigating a ransomware incident manageable by following the standard forensic workflow, securing evidence, processing it, identifying artifacts, and reporting. We can build a full picture of what happened. In our example, we successfully identified all the encrypted files and the ransomware node, giving the victim a clear story of the attack. This methodology is exactly what professionals use. And by practicing it, you are gaining hands-on skills. In short, digital forensic tools like Autopsy are invaluable in the fight against cybercrime. And I encourage you to explore them further. So some of the resources, just what you can read about digital forensics. It's very important that you have a grasp of these concepts. Thank you. If you have questions, you can also contact me at ai.ibo@unical.edu.ng. Once again, ai.ibo@unical.edu.ng. Thank you for your time.